I was playing soccer with my brother in my local park with Phil Collins, the singer. And his mother came to pick him up because he's only a year older than me. And his mother came to pick him up, saw me and Arthur, and suggested that we should join her children's agency to work on TV. And of course, because we didn't have any association with the business at all, we thought this lady's not well, you know, she's insane, you know. We couldn't understand it, but we thought it sounds fun of what she's talking about, so why don't we try it? What have we got to lose? And that's basically how it all started. I still find it hard, to be honest, to believe why the people chose me as opposed. I don't really see me being that special. And I still find it hard, even today, when fans will come up and say hi and ask for an autograph. And yet they are of a similar age to what I am, and yet they still have fond memories of that. And bearing in mind, because I had to grow up very quickly from the age of 11, because I'm sure it's the same over here, where if you go on a TV set or a movie set, doesn't matter how old you are automatically treated like an adult. And so therefore, as a kid, it was natural to want to be treated like an adult all the time. And so it was very hard when you'd finished working to go home and then have to behave like whatever age you are. And so that was quite sort of a hard thing to go through without, making yourself go crazy. Because I was relatively young at the time, 16 years old, to make it that much easier for me, I've only got one brother, and I brought Arthur with me, and the both of us stayed at Marty Croft's house with his wife and two kids. And and Marty has always treated me like a son. He still does now even, and irrespective of the fact of all the chaos I caused in his family home, but it really was a home from home scenario, and it was great. Marty he's crazy. He's the old school showbiz producer. And he is so colourful, the same with Sid. And really, it's, as I'm sure everyone will agree, that Hollywood, there really is no other city like LA and Hollywood, you know, on the planet, really, to that degree. Because I find it hysterical, because if you go to fill your car up with gas, and the guy comes out and fills your car up for you, if you go into one of those stations, the chances are he will have a party piece already set, waiting, ready to go, just in case he's going to be discovered in case, you know, Spielberg comes in to fill his car up and says, I want you in my next movie. Can you, do a song and dance for me or whatever? I mean, I know I'm exaggerating, but I find that very, very funny. I was working so constantly that I had really very little time to spend with my friends outside of the business. I mean, obviously, when I would see them occasionally, they would ask who I had seen, what autographs that I got, and all this, that, and that. And they couldn't understand why that I wasn't wanting all these people's photographs, autographs, and all that. And it really is true that I'm sure on your side of the business that, if you've met one celebrity, they're not really any different from the next one that comes along. I've always been a joker, and one well-known story was one of the lighting guys on the series, who is not with us anymore. He passed away, I understand, but he was a lovely man. And they would always call me a limey in a joking fashion. And so the only way I could get back at them was to call them colonials. And I had this bicycle made for me, and I'd ride around the studios when I wasn't working, and they decided one day to tie it up and lift it about 60 foot up in the air of this the studio where we were working. And of course I'd come at lunchtime to go get my bicycle where I'd left it, and it was nowhere to be seen. And I started going bananas. I was going berserk. I was shouting and screaming, and that went on for about 20 minutes before they started giving me clues to the fact that, one, it hadn't been stolen, and two, that it was somewhere on the set. So, I mean, we were always playing practical jokes, whether it was the cast or the crew, for that matter. It really was, and that was another thing that was very different as well, that the cast and crew, it really was one big happy family. It was done very much like making a movie. It wasn't really any different in the process. You'd shoot and you'd rehearse and shoot the same as you do on a movie. And because the music aspect of the show was quite short, although you had your front and end credits that were musical as well, you'd always have at least one song, as I remember, which didn't last 3 minutes. It was well under 3 minutes, probably closer to 2. So it was relatively easy to work out and choreograph to do that. But the thing that made it so special for me was the fact that it wasn't really a big cast. It was quite a small one, that it might have been maybe 12, 15 maximum of people. And apart from me and Billy Hayes, who was Richie Poo, everyone else, there were a lot of little people who were each person had their own character, aside from whatever characters that they were playing in the series. And it was really one big happy family. And the best way to describe that is the fact that the camaraderie between us all, it was very much like the Three Musketeers, you know, all for one and one for all, or whatever that, you know, saying was. In 1969, I only need to open my mouth and people wouldn't be able to understand anything of what I'm saying. And so I would be asked to do not so much an English or American accent, but a bit of both, if you like, as opposed to, in my natural tongue, I would say castle, but in America you say castle. So that would be a change, and as opposed to on the grass, for me being English, you'd say on the grass. So little things like that I had to change. And to be honest, at the time, it was annoying, but looking back on it, it was necessary, because you hadn't heard too much, I would say, of Cockney people. When we made the TV series, they had to make more than just the one Freddie Flute, so that you'd have ones that talked and ones that were mute, that you would just be holding and they wouldn't actually be talking on screen. And so I was given one of these to take home. And had it not been truthful, had it not been for my mother, who used to keep everything. She would keep all the photographs from teeny bopper magazines and all sorts, and thank her that I've actually still got all those. But she was mainly responsible for keeping that for me. And the reason was I felt that although it brought back lots of memories for me, I'm sure certainly over the last 10 or 12 years, having been over to the States quite a lot and met up with loyal fans, that one of those would get a lot more out of owning that than I did. And so that was really the sort of reason for doing that, really. But also to try, because I'm in the middle of trying to put together my own life story on paper, what I would have got for it would have helped finance that as well. The one thing that does remind you, it reminds you of, one, how long ago it was, and two, the fact that the fans have got their own children and their kids, which is a new generation, are enjoying Puffin stuff every bit as much as the first time round. And you know, I'm lucky enough to have been involved in that.